quick book recap. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into Grant Cardone's book, Sell or Be Sold. It's got a pretty intense title, right?
Yeah, definitely grabs your attention.
Totally. And you, our listener, brought this one up, asking how this whole sell or be sold thing works if you're not, aiming to be some kind of sales superstar. Like, what's the big idea for everyday people?
That's the core of it,
Yeah.
really. The book kicks off with this powerful idea in chapter 1. Selling is a prerequisite for life.
A prerequisite. Wow. Okay. That sounds big.
It is, but it's not just about business deals or making money. It's fundamentally about persuasion, negotiation, influencing outcomes in basically every part of your life.
Every part.
Yeah, every single day you're either trying to get your point across, convince someone, get your way,
Yeah.
or you're accepting someone else's viewpoint or decision. That whole dynamic, that's selling.
Huh. Okay. So give me an example, like outside of a store. How does this play out?
Well, the book uses this interesting analogy of a golfer.
A golfer. How are they selling?
They're selling themselves on making the shot, right? They're influencing their own focus, their body, trying to persuade the ball to go where they want it to go.
Okay, I kind of see that. Like mental persuasion.
Exactly. Or think simpler. Convincing your friends which movie to watch tonight. Asking your parents if you can stay out later. Even a student trying to make a case for why their answer on a test deserves partial credit.
Right. Okay. You're trying to get them to agree with you, to see your side.
Precisely. You're selling your idea, your preference, your reasoning to get the outcome you desire. Or you get sold on their idea instead. It's always happening.
So if selling is everywhere, what are we actually selling most of the time? It's not always a physical product. And the book mentions commissions that aren't money. That part threw me a bit.
Yeah, that's a really cool concept from chapter 1, the commission. It flips the script on what getting paid means.
How so?
The commission isn't just cash. It's the reward, the positive outcome you get from successfully selling in any area of life.
Like what?
Okay, so if you sell yourself on the importance of working out and you actually do it consistently, what's your commission?
Better health. Feeling stronger.
Exactly. Good health, more energy. That's your commission. If you sell yourself effectively to someone you want to be friends with, or romantically, the commission is companionship, love, connection.
Okay, got it.
If you sell yourself on the need to study hard, put in the effort, and you ace that test, the commission is a good grade, sure, but also discipline, knowledge, maybe better future options.
So the pay is the successful outcome itself.
That's it. The book puts it bluntly. The whole world is required to sell. Basically, if you want something good in life, health, happiness, success, good relationships, you have to actively sell to make it happen. You have to influence things.
Yeah, that whole world is required to sell. And honestly, it kind of makes me think of those really pushy, annoying sales calls or, bad experiences. Is that what the book is pushing?
That's a super important point, and no, definitely not. The book talks about false data in chapter 1.
False data.
Yeah, meaning those negative experiences usually come from people who are maybe insecure, don't really believe in what they're selling, or they just haven't learned how to communicate effectively or ethically. They might be relying on bad info or just pressure tactics.
Okay, so it's not about being that guy.
Not at all. Real effective selling, according to the book, is about being genuinely informed, being clear about the value, and having confidence. It's about helping someone see why your idea, product, or viewpoint is beneficial, not tricking them.
That makes a big difference. So if this is such a core life skill, the book contrasts being a professional versus an amateur. Is that just about having sales in your job title? Because, that's not me.
Nope, not about the title at all. Chapter 3, professional or amateur, clarifies this. A professional seller is anyone who really commits to mastering selling and influence as a vital skill for life.
So not just something you do now and then.
Right. They understand that their success, whether it's in their career, personal projects, relationships, depends on their ability to effectively persuade and communicate. An amateur, on the other hand, kind of sees selling as just something you do sometimes. Maybe you stumble through it. It's not a skill they're actively developing.
Okay. So the pro puts in the work, learns the ropes, and gets better results because of it, while the amateur kind of struggles because they haven't really committed to figuring it out.
You nailed it. The book actually says there's a great shortage of these professionals because most people don't treat it like a skill to be mastered. They treat it like an afterthought.
Yeah.
But think about it. Anything you want to be truly good at requires practice and dedication, right?
Yeah, like sports or music.
Exactly. You don't just pick up a guitar once and expect to play like a rock star. You practice, you commit. Selling, in this broader life sense, is the same. It's about owning your ability to influence your own life path.
That makes total sense. And you mentioned commitment. Chapter 4 is all about commitment. Why is that specific idea so crucial here?
Commitment is presented as, like, the absolute foundation.
Yeah.
Chapter 4 defines it as being completely devoted to something, seeing it through no matter what obstacles pop up. It means being 100% absorbed.
Okay, like tunnel vision almost.
In a productive way, yeah. Cardone tells this story from when he was younger, selling fish he'd bought. He had this batch of fish, and he just committed to selling every single one.
Even if it was hard.
Yeah, he ended up going door to door, figuring it out as he went, learning on the fly, because he was so committed to not failing. And that total commitment, the book argues, is what led directly to his success and actually his happiness in that moment.
So it's that refusal to quit, that deep decision that you will succeed, that makes the difference. Like you're selling yourself on making it happen.
That's a perfect way to phrase it. When you truly commit to something, studying for that big exam, learning a new language, getting that promotion, you're much more likely to push through the tough spots, find solutions, and get the result you want. That deep commitment is effectively selling yourself on your own success.
Okay, got it. Be committed. Then chapter 5 says the most important sale is selling yourself. What does that mean exactly? Like, I need to give myself a pep talk first.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's deeper than just a pep talk. Selling yourself is about cultivating genuine, absolute conviction in what you're doing. You have to believe, like 100%, that your idea, your product, your request, or even just you and your abilities are worthwhile and right.
Why is that so critical?
Because if you have doubts, if you don't fully believe deep down, how can you possibly convince someone else authentically? That flicker of doubt will show. The book calls this internal belief the make or break point. Your own conviction has to be solid.
That resonates. I can definitely think of times I've kind of half-heartedly tried something because I wasn't fully sold on it myself. And yeah, it usually didn't work out. It's like I accidentally sold myself on it not working.
Exactly. And that ties right back into the phrase sell or be sold, which comes up again in chapter 5.
How does it connect?
It means you're constantly in this dynamic. You're either actively influencing outcomes, selling yourself and others on success, on your ideas, or you're passively being influenced by doubts, fears, negative feedback, or other people's agendas. You're getting sold on giving up or settling.
So you have to consciously choose to be the seller in your own head first.
Precisely. Focus on the positives, on why it can work, on your strengths. Sell yourself on those things. The book uses the David and Goliath story. David had to sell himself on the possibility of victory against impossible odds, even when everyone else was selling him doubt. That internal sale was crucial.
Okay, so believe in yourself, be committed. What's next? Chapter 13 talks about massive action. Is that just like working really, really hard?
It's more than just working hard. The way Cardone describes massive action is, well, it's pretty intense. It means taking 10 times the amount of action you initially think you need to take to achieve a goal.
10 times?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's not just diligence. It's described almost like working like a madman, pouring on the effort, generating huge amounts of activity towards your goal.
Wow. Okay, can you give me a real-life example of that?
Sure. Let's say you want to get really good at basketball. Massive action isn't just going to practice. It's extra drills before practice, extra drills after, watching game tape, working out, maybe playing pickup games whenever you can. It's doing way, way more than anyone else, more than seems reasonable.
Or like if I wanted an A+ in a class, not just doing the homework, but reading extra material, forming a study group, constantly asking the teacher questions, reviewing notes every single night, that kind of level.
Exactly, that kind of level. And here's a really interesting twist that the book adds. Taking massive action often creates new problems.
New problems? That sounds bad.
You'd think so, right? But the book frames these new problems, like maybe having too many leads to follow up on, or suddenly needing more resources because you're growing so fast, as good things. They're signs of progress. And they just create opportunities for more action, which weirdly the book connects to greater happiness and fulfillment. It's about momentum.
Huh. Never thought of problems that way. Okay, but what about obstacles? Like, what if people just say no, or the classic one, that costs too much? I remember seeing the price myth in chapter 6. That feels like a huge hurdle.
It really does, and the price myth tackles it head on. The book argues that price is rarely the real #1 reason people object or say no.
Really? It seems like it always comes down to money.
Often. It seems that way, but the underlying issue is usually that the person doesn't see enough value or benefit to justify the cost. They haven't been sold on why it's worth it to them.
So it's about perceived value, not just the price tag.
Exactly. The book uses the example of a $4 coffee versus $2 water. People happily pay more for the coffee because they value the experience, the taste, the caffeine boost. They see value there. But they might balk at paying $2 for basic water they could get for free. It's about desire, perceived worth, and the confidence with which the value is presented.
Okay, that makes sense. Value over price. Then there's this other bit of advice in Chapter 9. Always agree with the customer. That sounds tricky, like you're just supposed to roll over and agree with anything they say.
Yeah, that title can be misleading if you take it literally. It raises a good question about how to handle disagreement.
So what does it really mean?
It's not about blindly agreeing that they're right about everything or being fake. It's about acknowledging and validating their feeling or their perspective first before you try to counter or explain. It shows you're actually listening.
How would that work? Like if someone says it's too expensive.
Instead of jumping straight to defending the price, you'd first agree with the feeling behind it. You might say something like, I understand why you feel it's a significant investment, or, yeah, I can see how that seems like a lot upfront.
Okay, so you validate their concern.
Exactly. You find a point of agreement, even if it's just agreeing that you hear them. Then, after you've acknowledged their point, you can pivot to explaining the value, breaking down the cost versus benefit, or addressing the concern from a place of mutual understanding, not opposition. It builds rapport and trust.
Ah, okay. Less confrontational, it keeps the conversation open, and trust seems key. Chapter 10 is about establishing trust.
Absolutely crucial. The book emphasizes that people don't just trust words, they trust what they see, consistency, reliability, honesty. You build trust by demonstrating you know what you're talking about, that you follow through, that you're genuinely looking out for their interests.
And why is trust so important in this selling context?
Well, Cardone points out that many people are naturally skeptical, especially towards anyone they perceive as selling something, because of past bad experiences. So building that bridge of credibility and trust is often the very first and most important step before any real persuasion can happen. They need to trust you before they'll trust your message.
Right, okay, this is all making more sense. But then I saw Chapter 11, give, give, give. That kind of threw me again. It sounds almost opposite to sell or be sold, like just give stuff away.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive at first glance, doesn't it? But if we connect it to the bigger picture, it's actually central to the whole philosophy.
Oh.
The book makes this bold claim. Selling is about giving, not getting. It means shifting your focus entirely. Instead of thinking, what can I get out of this interaction? You think, what value can I give? How can I genuinely help this person? How can I give them my full attention, my expertise, my service?
So focus on contributing value first.
Exactly. The idea is the more value you genuinely give, whether it's information, service, attention, solutions, the more you will ultimately receive in return. And that return isn't just money, it's trust, loyalty, good relationships, positive reputation.
Is there an example of that?
Yeah, the book tells the story about a sales manager dealing with a couple. They wanted a specific bonus, and instead of arguing, he focused on giving them what they valued, going above and beyond, even singing for them, apparently. It showed he was focused on their satisfaction, on giving them a great experience, not just on closing the deal.
Wow, okay. Singing is definitely going the extra mile.
Right. It illustrates that giving can take many forms, far beyond just the product or service itself. It's about the whole interaction.
So this really puts the focus on the other person, doesn't it? Which ties into Chapter 8. You are in the people businesses.
Absolutely. This is a huge theme. The book stresses over and over that people are senior to products and processes. Products change, companies change, rules change. But understanding and connecting with people, that's timeless.
People over everything else.
Yep. If you focus on genuinely helping people, understanding their needs, their problems, their desires, you'll always be valuable, regardless of what you're technically selling.
And why is that people focus so effective?
Because, fundamentally, people care most about themselves. It sounds blunt, but it's true. They care about their own problems, their own goals, their own feelings. So if you make it your business to care about them and what matters to them, if you focus on serving their needs, you align yourself with their primary interest. That's incredibly powerful for building relationships and achieving influence. It's service, not just sales.
Wow. Okay, this whole deep dive has definitely shifted my perspective on what selling means. It's really not just for salespeople in suits, is it? It's
Okay.
a life skill.
That's exactly the takeaway from Sell or Be Sold. That ability to communicate effectively, to persuade, to negotiate, to influence outcomes, it's fundamental to navigating life and achieving what you want, whether that's in a career, in personal goals, or just in daily interactions.
So it boils down to being committed, believing in yourself, taking that massive action, but also really understanding and focusing on other people, building trust, and always trying to give value.
You've got it. It's a blend of internal conviction and external focus on others. And that leads to a final thought, maybe something for you, our listener, to hour on. Think about your day-to-day or yesterday. How many times did you actually sell? Maybe you sold an idea to a colleague or persuaded your kids to eat their veggies or convinced yourself to go to the gym. You were selling, even if you didn't label it that way.
Uh, Probably more times than I realize.
Almost certainly. So the question is, now that you're more aware of this underlying dynamic, what happens if you start treating this selling thing as a skill? If you actually practice getting better at persuading, at understanding others, at giving value, what more could you achieve? What could you make happen in your life?